Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hot Mess Podcast. I'm your host, John Fay, and I have with me Allison Silabovsky and Jordan Ezel. We are a podcast by students for students. We are all Temple University students in the communication fields. And every week we talk about a couple different topics going on in the news, in the world, and in academia. So this week we want to talk about, we want to start off with the big topic of the week, which is Pennsylvania is effectively shutting down again at midnight tonight until January 4th, with Governor Tom Wolf implementing more closures of businesses in order and just social gatherings, things like that, in order to reduce the numbers of COVID. And we'll get to this a little later, but this comes in the wake of him testing positive for COVID himself. So um, we're all in Pennsylvania right now. How are we feeling about this? Effectively another shutdown.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Philly, we're Philly based, so this has happened in Philly before. This has been going on. I knew Philly changed their restrictions a couple weeks ago, so I wasn't really shocked when they put out these new restrictions. But I know a lot of people are feeling some type of way about it, especially because it's just, all these small businesses are having to shut down again, but there's no aid or any help for any of those small businesses or people that can't commute into work or have lost their jobs. This is still an issue that's going on, and it just kind of seems like the government is turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some friends who own small businesses, and I think that they're all mad because none of them are really getting the aid that they need in order to stay open. And we've
Right.
all seen businesses, concert venues especially. That's something that I've noticed. A lot of venues have just completely shut down because they just had no funding.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think like the government has to like do something about that to help these poor small businesses. Like, but yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And this can go into a whole discussion of politicians just bickering with each other, not getting anything done. But that's a whole other conversation in itself. So right now, I think it would be important to, as much as possible, try to support businesses that you care about. If you have a friend who owns a business, even I know I have a couple friends who own their own businesses. Try to support them in any way that you can, whether it's through donations or maybe shopping at their store, supporting them financially in some way and getting the word out about that as well, because we all kind of need to. This is another situation where we all need to stick together a little more than we usually do.
Right. Even if you're not, Allison and I were talking about this before, as a college student and someone who's just right now, we're not really making an income. So it's hard to, as much as I'd love to support small businesses, I can't really afford a $90 sweater.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's other ways of promoting small businesses. So just posting about them on your social media or getting the word out that way too really
Yeah.
helps if you can't financially support them.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I know, like me and then a bunch of my friends, we always talk about like we'd love to like support small businesses. However, like at the end of the day, like I don't have a steady income right now. So like Jordan said, I can't afford like a $70 sweater.
Right.
So like I have to do like a lot of my holiday shopping at places like Five Below, which of course I don't want to support Five Below, but it's like that's what I can afford right now. So it just I think it's important to like just be promoting them other ways, like getting the word out, telling your friends about it. I know a lot of I'm like in those like Temple Facebook groups,
Oh
like
yeah,
Class of 22 and everything. And I know a lot of times people will promote either their pay or their small business or other people's small businesses on there. Like, oh, we make jewelry or we make this or that. So I think that's also very important, just like getting the word out. When that's just something you can do, even if like you can't afford to shop there.
right, right.
Absolutely. And I think it's also, it goes for any type of shopping as a college student. If you want to shop small, shop smart as well, the same way you would if you went to like Target, or if you're shopping for food, at any normal grocery store. You don't have to spend all your money at one place. Get a couple things that you are really looking for, especially with the holidays rolling around. I know a lot of people are looking for things for Christmas, for the other holidays going on. It's one of those things where, it's another great thing where like a list really helps out, go and like, do they have this? Okay, they do. Is it in my budget? Okay, I'll get it from here to support that small business.
Yeah, do price check.
Yeah, do price checking. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And also like a lot of small businesses I've noticed are doing like because they're all struggling, so they're trying to get people to shop there. So they're doing a bunch of deals and like sale items. So if you just like keep a lookout for that, you might be able to, let's say, afford this like the sweater because it might not be $70, or you can get two for the price of one. You don't know.
Yeah.
If you want to support restaurants, you don't have to eat out every single day, but maybe have like once a week where you're like, you know what, I'm going to go order food from this restaurant I really like, or my friend owns that restaurant, or a friend of mine works at that restaurant. Support them in some way. I'm probably going to be doing that this weekend for a restaurant I really like in my area, because they're going to have to, with everything, they're going to have to shut down effectively, only doing takeout until January 4th.
It's hard. And that's another interesting thing too, to the fact that they've extended this until January 4th. So I know that Philly, they were just originally going to do the January 1st. Yeah, so I'm assuming it's being pushed back till then. But it's just such an interesting thought of how are these lockdowns and these restrictions going to change the holidays and celebrating New Year's. And I've kind of been saying this for a while. I'm really worried about New Year's.
Oh my God, it's going to be, in my opinion, and like, do I want this? No, but we need to have like a full like curfew shutdown lockdown on New Year's. And like, of course, that's going to suck. However, like people can't be going to like bars, people can't be going to New Year's parties. And like, even though people are, in my opinion, like they just need to do something about that. Like the government needs to realize people are not going to listen to these rules.
Right.
They're going to go to these parties, and COVID is going to spike so much during New Year's, because it's like, yes, the holidays are one thing, but now a lot of New Year's, you're going to be like mixing alcohol, and that's when like your judgment kind of goes out the window, and you kind of forget about the fact that like, COVID's a thing. So who knows what people are going to be doing, but New Year's is going to be an interesting one. We're going to have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah. And I completely understand everyone's mindset of, 2020 was such an awful year. Because trust me, for some reason, it just keeps getting worse. There's just been, but and I want to celebrate the end of this year too. We've all been changed in some way or another, but it's do we want to keep, if we don't stop it the way that it's going now, do we want another repeat of 2020?
Yeah. And that's where we're heading.
Mm-hmm.
I think also one thing people need to remember is going home for like college students going home for the holidays. I know I've been texting my friends because I'm very excited to like go home and see all my friends. We're going to sit in a parking lot in our separate cars, and we're going to like do what we did back in the beginning of the pandemic, because it's just, even though it's going to be cold, we're going to be wrapped up in blankets. Like, it's just not worth it to like risk it, because they don't know what I've been doing. I don't know what they've been doing, But I think people need to remember to keep doing that, especially these college students coming home for the holidays. Like, remember, just be smart about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, on the positive side, the vaccine was approved.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
we do want to talk about that. The Pfizer vaccine has been approved for use. Should be out to the public very, very soon. So
I guess as early as next week.
We've been all waiting for this. So.
Okay, thoughts on if you would get the vaccine or not?
I'm getting the vaccine. I personally trust that, the entire world has been working on a vaccine, and yes, they made the process, quicker than it normally is, but I trust that these doctors know what they're doing. So I'm going to get it, and, not to bring back YOLO, but like whatever happens, happens. So I'm going to get it. I need life to go back. And if getting a vaccine is how it's going to do, I trust it. I'm going to get it.
I'm in no way anti-vaccine, but I'm a little hesitant to get it myself, just because like we just said, these vaccines take years to see if there's like major issues with taking it, and they've really rushed this. And I know we all want life to get back to normal, but I don't want to suffer from the side effects of a vaccine that they rushed the studies of. So personally, I'm a little hesitant to get it. I think as long as I social distance and do what we've all been doing for a little while, I think that's what I'm going to do for a little. And as people start to get the vaccine, I'm going to kind of just sit back and watch just to see what's going on. It's just like, is this how the zombie apocalypse happens?
I also
So
think
I think I'm sorry. I think I'm reasonably hesitant to do it, but I also don't. I'm not judging people that want to get it.
I also think like you said, I'm gonna sit back and like watch it. We're the general public. I mean,
Right.
maybe because we're college students, we'll get it faster than some people, but like
Yeah.
we're not gonna get it like the first round. I think they said like the general public, or at least college students, we're probably not gonna get it till maybe like March or April. So I guess at least like me playing like devil's advocate to you right now, which like I totally understand your reasoning behind being hesitant and getting it. Totally understand that. But we're going to be seeing some of the side effects. So I guess we'll have like maybe a better understanding. That's just where my mind is at.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. So, I mean, I've just been like personally, I've just been struggling with insurance. I thought that I had it. I currently don't. So if I still don't have insurance by the time it comes out, I don't know how much they would make you pay out of pocket for it or what that would really look like. So I guess it would be, I'm not against it. I'm not, like an advocate for it. I think that it's whatever your choice. I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction. It's really going to help people. So I guess it'll just be interesting, but I completely agree. We're not going to be the first people to get it.
Yeah,
So and they've been doing these tests for a while. I mean, yeah, they don't really have a choice but to speed up the process either. Because I think we've mentioned this on a show before. It takes 2 to 5 years to get something FDA approved.
Yeah, and they did in what, 5 months?
Yeah, they did it in less than 6 months. So I can definitely see where you're coming from, John, where that's a little sketchy. Okay, so you guys typically do this process, but what are there hasn't been enough time to really see the effects of it.
Yeah.
So I get that too. I guess it'll just be interesting to see, but we've got some time. it won't get to us.
One thing I want to bring up about like the not being able to afford it. I don't know if this is happening. By no means this is just me talking, but I know since we are college students, back, I don't know if you guys I don't think were at Temple, or I don't know if you know about this, but Temple had like a mumps scare my freshman year. Oh, I remember that. I lived in like the dorm hall, and it was like the biggest thing, like, haha, mumps, like pandemic, haha, or like epidemic. Little do we know. But I know Temple gave the mumps booster shot to any student who wanted it. I remember standing with my friends outside of Mitten Hall, which is just one of our big halls, and we stood on this big line. And one by one, you would go up to someone and just like get the booster shot. And it was like completely free if you were a Temple student. So not saying that they would do this with like the COVID vaccine, but I know it's something they've done in the past with this mump shot. So
I'm of the opinion if they want to push something like this to the public as much as they have been in the media and everything like that, they should make it free at this point.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I don't think that you should have to decide if you really want to get the vaccine. Like if you're viewing it as a life and death thing, which I understand, it's like I don't think that you should have to pay a large sum of money out of pocket for something like that. I think that the government at this point should be working with Pfizer and all the other companies that are making vaccines and just being like, all right, here you go.
But I don't think that's going to happen realistically.
Yeah. Ideally, that's what I would like to happen.
Of course.
It's in a perfect world, that's what's going to happen. But as we've seen with the government, it does, what we want from them is not always what we get.
Right. I'm thinking just because of how rough the economy has been this year, that they're going to see this as a financial gain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong. I haven't fact checked. I want to make that very clear.
We're all just making assumptions right now.
We're all just talking.
But on a side note, Allison, I was at my previous college when that mumps outbreak came out. I was at Bucks County. community college, and that was everybody was talking about it because a large amount of people who transfer out of Bucks go to Temple.
Yeah.
So everyone was just like, I don't want to get the mumps. I'm going there next semester.
Oh my God, the mumps, like, you guys don't understand. It was my freshman year. I lived in Johnson and Hardwick Hall. So that's like one of those typical college halls where, like, you know,
Yeah.
I have the communal bathrooms. I have a roommate. So I remember we had a scare of mumps on our floor, and it was like, no one had it, but it was like the biggest thing. Like, oh my God, they have mumps. Oh my God, we're gonna get the mumps. And that's like when it started to get cold. So people started coughing and everything. And it's like,
no.
you coughed in class, everyone stared at you like, mumps, 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 mumps. And it's like, little do we know we'd have like COVID like a year and a half later. But it was like we were all talking about, like, oh my God, the mumps, like all the media was on us. I had people from like different states like calling us like, oh my God, are you safe? Do you have mumps? It was kind of funny, but like obviously it's not funny, but
I didn't hear anything about that.
wow. I know like a lot of the big news stations, they were like at Temple covering it. My grandma, who lives in Queens in New York, she saw it on the news back at, you know, in Queens, and she's like, Temple, my granddaughter goes there. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Grandparents and families, if anything is going down at your school, they know about it before I mean, at least for me, my family would know about stuff going on at Albright or at Temple before I would even know.
Mm-hmm.
They'd call me and be like, hey, I heard about that scandal at Albright. And I was like, okay, I wasn't involved. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
What's next on our list?
So next is I
Governor
brought this
Wolf.
up at the beginning of the show. Governor Tom Wolf has tested positive for COVID-19. He announced this just the other day, and I think it was on Wednesday he announced that, and then yesterday he announced that the state is being shut down again. So
that could be I know, John, you were saying that could kind of be like a result.
I think so.
He tested positive, so he's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like I actually got it. So let's
Yeah.
shut
If he was following all of his rules and he still caught it, he's probably just like, you know what, I still took all the precautions and I still caught it. So this is way worse than I thought it was. To my knowledge, he's fine right now. And, you know, I think even this goes back to where, you know, people, I think they demonize politicians to a certain extent. And, yeah, you know, I don't know, a lot of people have very mixed opinions on him, but nobody should be getting COVID. So regardless of how you feel about Tom Wolf and what he's been doing during this, whether it's a good or a bad thing, it's still, you know, he's sick. So he's got this thing that he's been fighting against. So, you know, I wish him well. I think all of us wish him well.
Hope he has a speedy recovery.
Yes, absolutely. As of right now, he's not showing results, you know, symptoms, I should say, but he is older. So he is definitely in the range of where it's a lot more dangerous than like if, say, somebody like me caught it or somebody like us caught it, but you know, everybody's different. I did read that his wife tested negative for it, so that's good. It looks like it's been contained as much as possible. I know that he's quarantining right now. But yeah, it's always weird when like a major political person gets it.
Yeah.
Especially when he's been getting nationwide attention for how he's been handling this. And, you know, obviously a lot of people are mixed on it. Some people are like, yes, this is great. Some people are like, you know, he's killing the economy of the state. I'm just saying what I've heard from people.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that also,
it's like Cuomo, like people are looking at Cuomo right now for what he's doing with New York.
I think the mixed views, I mean, it kind of goes into the whole Democratic versus Republican stance. Like a lot of, I know this isn't like completely true, but like a lot of Democrats are like, he's doing well or whatever, or he might not be doing. But I think a lot of times, like they shut down the state. A lot of Republicans tend to lean more towards they're killing the economy. And in my opinion, I just don't think people should be looking at this in a political stance. Like this is for the safety of our general public, and that's just like this isn't a political thing. This is we're in a pandemic, we need to control this, and this is how we got to do it. But I know it's obviously going to be a political thing just with the stance of our country.
Everything's a political thing now.
And it's frustrating. If I'm going to be honest, it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
I think it is realistic to look at it from a political standpoint to an extent, not to make it completely a political thing though, because people's lives are in danger with something like this. People are getting very sick from this. People are still dying from this. So, but I do think that it is smart to look at it like in the long run, shutting down businesses. I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the people who are concerned about that, I'm not saying. I think that we should listen to like every argument on this.
Oh, yeah.
Like we listen to every argument on anything else. It's like, okay, like I'm listening to people who think that the country should open up completely. And it's like, I see where you're coming from to an extent.
I think they need to. I'm in the group that we do need a shutdown, but I think they need to do it smart. Like I know in the beginning of the show we talked about, small businesses, they're not really receiving aid from the government.
Yeah.
That is not okay because people can't live if they don't have the money to live. So I think having a full shutdown, but doing it smart,
Yeah.
is where we need to kind of go in the direction. So yes, listening to both sides is very important to that.
If you're going to force a business to shut down, you should at least help them out financially, and even in a small way, just to keep them afloat.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm 100% in the same boat with you, Allison. I definitely am for another shutdown, but I'm for it in the sense that it's planned.
Yeah.
And that everyone has the opportunity to make sure they're ready for it, because the last one, it was just so chaotic because no one knew this was going to happen. So if we say, all right, we're going to do another shutdown for this period of time, and we're going to give everyone maybe a week or two to really get everything in order. So if you need any supplies to stay home, and definitely another stimulus check, we need to make sure that people are supported when they're not being able to work, or or their small business isn't being taken care of. So if that's what we need to really get everything under control, and plus with the vaccine, I feel like once of course I'm no scientist, but I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah.
And I hope that in the first 100 days, like I'm pretty sure President-elect Joe Biden has stated that his first 100 days, he's going to be kind of tackling the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. I really hope that he's right now working on a plan to attack it and kind of try to defeat coronavirus. So hopefully that's something that he's working on. So it's not just a sudden shutdown. He has a plan and he can help, the economy. So we don't have a sinking economy that badly, because of course the economy is going to go down, which is quite scary, but.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. I think 2021 is going to be might even be more interesting than this year, just to see how everyone handles what happened for this.
Yeah.
I just hope things go back to normal this coming year. That's all I want at this point. I hope that COVID is, handled in a way where, like things can start opening back up. We can start kind of living our own normal lives again, because I hardly remember what it's like before all this. Like I remember like January and February like a little bit, but then it's just like I feel like I've been wearing this. I feel like we've been in this for like way longer than it actually has been. So, and I think everybody feels that way. Everybody wants this to just be tackled in the right way, so that life can go back to normal.
I agree.
People, if you really wanted to go back to normal, wear your mask, be smart.
Exactly.
Like by forcing it to go back to normal right now, you're just going to prolong the normalcy or wanting to go back to normal. So just like do what they say. And again, like you said, be smart about it. Wear your mask, social distance, wash your freaking hands,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why you got to tell anyone that. To me, I learned when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I was a germaphobe before this, so I've got a hand sanitizer in my car, like right there, so I can anytime I get back in my car, I can just use it immediately. Just
literally
keep my distance from people.
I do have to say though, like it's gotten a little. I'm like still not that used to it. Like I know, so I was in the tech center, which is just kind of like one of our libraries, all week, just doing homework and studying and doing projects. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But like as I'm like studying, obviously like I'm hungry, like I want to eat, but like I've been touching this computer, and even though like I wiped it down, I'm still not used to the fact that every time I go to eat something, I have to use hand sanitizer. It's just something that like honestly, like yes, I wash my hands, but it's like I have to become more conscious about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely.
My
is.
hands are dry, man. Like, let me tell you, this hand sanitizer is killing. Like, I need some good lotion.
Yeah.
What is the Vaseline lotion? That stuff is good. 10 out of 10.
I get like in the bad winter, like I get very cracked and dry hands. Like sometimes like it'll even bleed, like it gets bad. So I can't use like the
Oh yeah,
fragrant stuff.
Fragrant.
Vaseline one.
That I used to sit when I was younger. Oh my god, a side note, but like I used to sit with Vaseline on my hands and like sit and watch TV when it was like the dead winter. It's like get some moisture back in them, like, and then I have to wash it off. Oh my god, it was bad. But COVID's killing it. Like all this hand sanitizer I can't do, but I do.
Yeah.
Everyone should do.
So Tom Wolfe caught COVID. Ellen DeGeneres also caught COVID.
Yes.
She is arguably having, from a celebrity standpoint, I think she's having one of the worst years.
Yeah, she's not doing well.
Yeah.
No. Well, not with COVID, just in general.
Just in general.
I've heard mixed things about Ellen. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate when I like a celebrity and I find out they're a terrible person.
Yeah.
I hate that. And
Yeah.
I feel like Ellen is one of them. I've heard really, I don't know myself. I've never met the woman, so I can't, give my own opinion, but I've heard not so great things about Ellen and I used to love her.
Yeah.
It's sad. What is this world?
I know, yeah.
But
She has a speedy recovery too, though.
Yes,
I heard
absolutely.
she's doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't have many symptoms or any symptoms right now, so she's doing pretty good. But again, she's also like Tom Wolfe. She's in the age group where it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I was gonna say I don't know how old Ellen is, so
I think she's in her 60s.
is she really?
70s? She's older.
Wow. She looks good for her age.
And that's what they call plastic surgery.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so hopefully she has a speedy recovery.
Ellen's
also wanna talk-
62, by the way.
Doesn't look 62.
Ellen is 62.
60. Wow.
Wow. Oprah is 66.
Oprah doesn't look old either.
Steve Harvey is 63.
Wow.
Ah.
All these legends.
Jimmy Fallon's only 46. I don't know why I thought he was older, but
Wait, who?
Jimmy Fallon, 40,
Really?
46 or 47, I think it said.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I thought he was a little bit older.
I guess that makes sense because he does have younger children.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in that age. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we had a little touch of winter on Wednesday,
yes.
Pennsylvania. We got at least in my area, it was at least 2 hours of snow. I don't know, but how was Philadelphia?
I know we did have some snowfall. Personally, I was in the tech center during it, so the tech center has no windows. So I don't know how long it was snowing for.
I was out and about and I was in it. I am unlike other people. I hate snow.
I saw your face and I was like, oh no, Jordan.
I'm one of those. I just there's reasons to it. Usually I hate the snow when I have my car because some issue comes on in that or I had to go to work in it or I just am not a fan of the snow. But I was out in it and my roommate was so happy. She was texting me. She's like, it's snowing. I was like, oh no.
I'm the complete opposite. I love the snow. I love the winter. I'm the definition of a winter baby. I was born in February, so love the snow, love the winter. I was like in my kitchen and I saw it was snowing in the window and I screamed to my roommate, "Oh my God, it's snowing, it's snowing." Completely fangirled over snow. And it's not like I've seen snow my entire life. I just freaking love the snow.
There's definitely two different people when it comes to this.
Yeah.
My birthday is late January. I was born in the middle of a very bad storm in 1994 in Long Island, so I was born in it. I was born this way. I absolutely love the snow, but I get where people don't like it because I've had plenty of issues with that. My first car completely broke down in the middle of a snowstorm, so I get why people don't like it.
Maybe it is because I was born in the summer, so maybe it is a seasonal thing. We should ask. I'm curious if our other listeners
Oh,
have
yeah.
this. So if you were born, how do you feel about the snow depending on which month you were born?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, we'll put a Twitter poll up, or an Instagram poll. I'm interested.
I also think, I also definitely would think it's a regional thing because I
True.
mean, you were born in Maryland, and even though or you're from Maryland, so even that's not that much south, but like,
Yeah, it's not too much different from PA. I mean, we definitely got some snow. I think it's worse. It's worse in PA than it is in Maryland, but
it's definitely worse like in New York than it is in Maryland. So
right.
it's like I know, like I love the seasons, and like I can't stand when it's hot. Like I do not like the summer, but I love the winter because we've always had a winter like in New York. But
That's what I love about the Northeast, and that's why I don't really plan on leaving the Northeast as the years goes on, because you get all, depending on where you are, especially like in this region, like Pennsylvania, New York, even I'm assuming even Maryland, because again, it's not that far south, but you get
Right.
all four seasons kind of as they are. It's not like you live in Florida and it's just hot all year long, which
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do.
I've talked to people. My other roommate's from San Diego, so like she has like it's hot or like it's at least warm all year round,
Yeah.
and the days just like they just blend into each other. There's no like I wouldn't be able to do that because
Yeah.
like you don't know like what month it is based on the temperature outside. But I
Any
guess if
place
you're
where it's like
accustomed to
one,
it.
any place where it's one temperature, I can't do that.
I
Like I
don't
know
know.
in
I
my
think I might like that.
But again, that's like the two different people. Like
Right. So I mean, I always get seasonal depression. I when it the second that it gets cold, my mood just changes. Not not like the cold. So I think that I would like to see myself in maybe North or South Carolina someday.
okay.
Because at least, it's still on the East Coast. You still get the water and everything, and then it's warm pretty much all the time.
Yep.
I think I could do that.
I had a question and completely just lost it. It was pertaining to what we were just talking about. Oh yeah, so Wednesday it snowed, and then yesterday it felt like it was in the 60s.
Yeah, like I was walking around with just like a long sleeve shirt on, like no jacket, nothing. We're in freaking
Yeah.
December, people.
Yeah.
No.
I walked out yesterday in like a heavy sweater, thinking it was going to be freezing, and I was like, "What is going on?"
I don't understand how people don't think that global warming isn't real.
Yeah.
That kills me.
Yeah, because if it's not clear enough for even sometimes in the mornings, it'll be one way and then completely different.
Oh, that's always the worst.
Yeah.
It's like freezing. And I know like when we used to go into like our internship, I'd
Right.
like dress really warm in the morning. And then by the time we're walking out at like 3
No.
o'clock, I was sweating and then like have to walk back to my apartment sweating.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I don't get how people aren't, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, it's this, it's that. No, it's real.
And that's
Yeah.
also very frustrating. That's another thing that's like very frustrating. The fact that like there's not much we can do about it because it's all the big businesses. And it's like it's just kind of frustrating. Like we need to fix this and we need to help global warming to like save our planet. And it's like obviously I know there's some things we can do, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, I think I want to get on my apartment building because me and my roommate recycle, but we don't have an actual place where we can distinguish that in where we take our trash. It pretty much all just collides into one thing. So I want to reach out to them and just say, hey, is that something we can fix? Because it's just one little thing.
I know, like my apartment, we don't do, or like the building, the landlord, we don't have a recycling either.
Right. I don't like that.
No.
It's not, there should be a difference.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you just have to remember, like, oh, okay, I can only make so much of a difference in the world when it comes to, environmentalism, but do that part. Do what you can to not leave as much of a footprint. I think it's good. Like by the end of your life, you want to leave the earth a better place than it was when you came into it. So if that means you recycle religiously, or maybe, I know there's a lot of people that eat very like clean organic foods because they're not a fan of like I do that. Like I try to eat as clean as possible because I know how bad like the meat industry is and like how bad, you know, like pesticides are to the plants and also to the earth because that turns into runoff. And I've heard horror stories of people living near like farms where they spray pesticides that gets into the drinking water. People get cancer, people get all kinds of different health ailments. So it's like, you know, do what you can to be as green as possible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that that's so important. And it's something that just gets like, no, I don't need to do that. You know, like everybody else isn't doing that I know. And it's that argument. It's like, well, if all your friends are jumping off a bridge, are you going to do that as well?
Right.
Like, you know, you don't need to follow what everybody else is doing if it's not the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like nature. I like going on hikes. I'd like to see the natural parks stay the way that they are while I'm alive, not dry up or, you know, get knocked down for businesses. So I think that's also very important.
Agreed. Yeah.
Definitely agree.
Yep. Absolutely. Transition. All right. We wanted to talk about our transition. We wanted to talk about this is a podcast by college students for college students. And I think something that is kind of like a daunting task for a lot of college students is developing a portfolio because we're all
especially
here,
in our industry. It's
especially
like,
in our industry.
it's very vital. You need to have a portfolio.
Just as a reminder for those who haven't watched the show, I am a journalism major and Allison is
I'm a advertising and video production major.
Jordan.
Yeah. And I'm strategic marketing and advertising.
We're all in the communication field, having good connections, being able to promote your work. That is so important in every industry, but I think especially ours, just because it's very competitive. It's very creativity oriented. So I think if you're able to kind of shine over some other people, I think that's always going to be important. You don't want to just walk and just be like, I can do this well or I can do that well. It's like, well, do you have proof of that? And
right,
some
look at the
people go, no, I don't. I haven't been compiling my work.
Yeah.
Where some other people have been compiling their work, and then you can just give that as a bulk item to an employer.
And an employer wants the easier route rather than like, they don't want you to just send a bunch of like documents of what you've done. They want like easier. So if you have the portfolio to like just send over, that's a lot easier for them and you'll have the step up than someone else.
Yeah. And we were discussing before the show, we all have a different form of a portfolio. I'll start off with myself, if that's all right with you too.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Wix website, set up like a professional website, and it has links to every article I've ever written ever for different newspapers, different online magazines, everything that I've done. A lot of stuff from I still currently have a job with Levittown Now, which is an online newspaper in the Bucks County area. So all my photos, all of my articles from that website are all on that website. So an employer or anybody who's interested in my work can go onto that website and see everything I've ever written. And I also have on there my contact information, my email, my personal phone number, all that stuff. Pictures from me on the scenes of reporting gigs that I've had. But then some people also have a more professional well, I shouldn't say professional, but another type of portfolio, such as Allison. What is your portfolio like?
So my portfolio, it's more of the creative. I make a lot of videos. I edit a lot of videos, and I also do like a lot of branding, but mainly I do videos. So something that I've done is mine is separate. So mine is built into kind of like different projects or different like activities that I've done. For instance, like I work with the Temple News and I'm a multimedia journalist. So I create these news videos for the Temple News. I put all of my videos on YouTube and then I kind of just put them in to my website and put a little blurb. So that's how mine's kind of laid out. Something I do want to like mention though is I know this happened a lot when I apply to like internships or jobs. They want to see like things of your work. So if you're if you do a lot of videos, a lot of times you can't put MP4s in these or like the files are too big. So something that I've done is I'll put it in a PowerPoint and I'll link all of my videos or the ones that I want to like show off. So I can put that up instead of, because a lot of times sometimes they won't look at the website, but they'll look at something you've attached. So that's another thing that like I know I've run into the problem with. But my website is just, I have a lot of videos, I have some graphic designs I've made, I have some branding templates that I've made. It's just I have a lot of everything that I do, and I just link it all from like YouTube or a separate document.
Yeah, so with mine, I would say it's kind of a mix of what both of you guys have going on, because when I was in undergrad, I did a lot of writing. And as I'm in grad school, I've done a lot of presentations and videos and talking about different, freelance stuff that I've done too. So the way that I set it up, my website, is you want to make it simple enough to where everything that you need is on, maybe even 2 pages. So my first page, it has my about, and I've got my LinkedIn that I can attach there, my resume. I have our podcast on there, so I want people to be able to see that too. So on one page, I've got my about, my experience, highlights about me, what makes me different than other candidates. And then on a separate page, I have my portfolio, and I broke it down into, okay, here's examples of things that I've done in my undergrad. Here's a link to these articles that I've written, or here's the Instagram that I ran, put photos from that. And then I have Temple, and then I did have stuff that we did at our internship, and then I have the podcast. So basically just breaking it down to show, all right, here's different stuff that I've worked on, and it's all right there. So I have like a sliding version of it, so you can click and you can see, and then it could take you to a link. You can also do document uploads, so that'll open up in a new page. I use Wix, so that's something that you can do on Wix, but it's definitely smart to have a website or have a place where you have your portfolio. I know people have done other types of portfolios too, but it's just something that, in this industry, it's really hard to stand out. And any way that you can show your personality, you can do that through creating a website, and the way that you edit it, and the way that you present your information or the work that you've done. So 100%, I know that we're really trying to gear this podcast to a career advice, getting advice from professionals and everything, but just from the three of us in all the different industries that we are in communications, it's so important to have that.
So I have a question for Jordan about that. So I know, so you've run, like I know you run a lot of social media, and I know I'm about to, as breaks coming up, I'm going to update my website. Mm-hmm. So like I also run some like social media accounts. How do you put that in a portfolio? Because it's like I never know how exactly to like put in like an Instagram that I run, but like I know it's something I want to showcase.
So what I did, so at Albright, I didn't completely run their account. I had a few posts that I've done. So what I did was I went and I screenshotted those posts, specifically of the ones that I did, and I put it in there, and I said, okay, here's, at Albright College, this was some of the work that I've done. And for, our podcast, for our Instagram, I took a few screenshots of that too, and put the @ symbol, or, tagged the account. So if they wanted to go and check it out, they could.
Okay.
And that's a good thing to put in your resume too.
Yeah.
I ran the Hot Mess podcast, and in a cover letter, that's a really good thing to put, because then boom, here's the exact Instagram account, and they can go and visit it right then and there.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Little trick that you can do.
Screenshots are everything.
Also something, so screenshots are great, but I know, John, you mentioned like linking your articles back to like, let's say like Levittown Now. Something that I know one of my professors mentioned is you never actually want to link it directly, or that be your sole thing, because you're then relying on another company to kind of have all of your work. So you want to at least, like, you can do that, but make sure somewhere you actually have either a screenshot or you have the actual article. So
yes, I do have backups of them.
Okay, yeah.
I just have I have like sort of like a screenshot of them, and then I have the link to what's on the website. Because I do know that people do take down content.
Mm-hmm. And you don't want to just like a little tip for that, you don't want to be relying on your previous employers or someone else to be showcasing all your work, because they may delete it at one day.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or they might not give you proper credit. That's something that I ran into. So when I was at Albright, I worked for their communications division, and sometimes it wasn't intentional or anything, but they wouldn't give me credit on the articles that I've written. So on the website, it wouldn't have my name on it. So if I were to link that work there's no way that a future employer would know that I'm not taking someone else's work without my name straight up being on there too.
Exactly.
So that's, another issue that you can run into. So always just checking to make sure that, okay, hey, my name is definitely on this. 100% you can tell that this is my work. That, yeah, another thing to bring up, just make sure that everything that you have is verified, that they can't question if it's yours or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to make sure you get credit for everything you do.
Right. And that's another tip too. So when I ran into that issue, I just reached out to my manager at the time and I just said, hey, I noticed on the website that I wrote this article, but my name wasn't on there. Is there any that we can put that up? And she said, oh yeah, no problem. So it could just be as simple as just they weren't aware that it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely don't be afraid to make sure that you're getting credit for your work.
That's very important.
And this should be said, if you're working for a good company and they want to, keep their integrity up in the eyes of the people that are maybe reading articles or who are getting services through them, they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll put your name on. You will occasionally run into companies whose integrity is not all there, so might be a little hard. So always double check as you're going along with things that you're getting the proper credit, that it says like this article by my name, or this video by my name.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say that this is just another reminder that as college students, we're all looking to move on from our education to the career field after this, especially as communication students. I don't know of anybody that's here just like, I want to learn about this and then go back to doing what I was doing before that. It's like we all want to progress on to the next big thing in our lives. So a portfolio is always going to be very important for any field, but especially in communications.
Another piece of advice that I would say is don't be afraid to ask other people's opinions on your resume or on your website or on your portfolio, because sometimes people will catch things that your eye didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really trying to make it good, reach out to a career counselor. If you have that available at your school, you take advantage of that resource. Ask your friend, hey, do you mind taking a look at this, just making sure everything looks good? Because that attention to detail is usually something we'll look forward to.
One thing I also another tip to bring up, kind of going along with that, your personal brand, that's super important. You want to make sure everything's cohesive. Mm-hmm. So like, I know for myself, like I have my website, it's a certain color scheme, it's a certain format. I have certain like fonts and type that I use. And that transfers over the same to my resume. That also transfers over to the same as my the PowerPoint slideshow I was telling you guys before that I do. That also is the same for my cover letter. So when they look at these certain fonts or this certain theme, they know that it's me because I have everything cohesive. You want to make sure you don't have not that you do this, but a neon green website and then you have a navy blue resume. Make sure people could tell that it's you. And you just want to make sure you have your personal brand kind of in place before you're sending these off to people.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
And this winter break is a perfect time, as we're all college students, it's a perfect time to be working on your personal brand and kind of figuring out, okay, what do I want to put myself out there as? How do I want people to see me? It's a very important thing to do. So people know okay, this is you, this is kind of what you stand for.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else on this
topic? Guys, look at us.
Yeah. Is there anything else on this topic we want to discuss?
Just one thing. I know, because I know I made my website a few months ago. All my friends are making their websites or fixing it up now. Be patient with it. It's a very frustrating process. It's going to take time, and Wix, even though a lot, I know we all use Wix, it's a very user-friendly site, but you still have to learn how to use the site. It's a frustrating process, and just know that as you grow in your career, you may want to change it, or you may want to I know I completely scrapped it, and over quarantine, I made a new website.
Yeah.
With a completely new theme and color scheme and a layout. So just be open to changing your website and know that you don't have to, this isn't what goes, you can change it as you go, and be open to fixing it up and everything.
It
Absolutely.
also doesn't have to be perfect. You know,
It doesn't have to be perfect.
I am definitely not a web developer. I think that that's super clear. If anyone has ever met me, I'm not a web developer. So it's more difficult for others who don't have that skill, but just make sure you're trying to make it as best as you can. But don't beat yourself up if it's not, looking like Google,
Yeah, like
Exactly.
your website isn't going to be Google. And like employers know that. They know that you're a college student who you're not a professional web developer. So just try your best. Yeah.
Do your best, because that's good enough in the eyes of employers, because they're just like, okay, well, they're college students. They haven't worked in this field for 10 plus years. I understand it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And if you're looking to be a perfectionist at the get-go, you're going to burn yourself out really quickly. So,
Yeah.
do your best, and that'll be good enough in most employers' eyes.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, like I know it took me a while to kind of learn that. Like you have to just do your best because employers know that you're learning.
Mhm.
You don't have to be perfect or professional straight out.
Yeah.
Just like it's okay. You're probably doing your best for for where you are in your career.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to end on we always try to end on a very nice note here, something positive. It is the first day or the first night of Hanukkah,
So
Allison?
technically it is the first day of Hanukkah, but tonight, so how Hanukkah works is it goes by like how it is in Israel. So Israel is it's like a half a day ahead of us. So we're on our first day of Hanukkah, but it's our second night. So at sundown, it will be the second night of Hanukkah.
Okay.
So happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.
Very exciting. Yeah, so go make your potato latkes, light your menorahs, just eat your jelly donuts, spend time with your family. It's a fun time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are
So,
we good? Is there anything else? Yes.
I was just gonna say, keep an eye out for that Instagram poll. I'm really interested to see
Yeah.
how people born in different seasons feel about certain seasons. So that'll be interesting. I'll make sure to put that up today.
And we love the engagement that we have with our viewers.
Yes, our fans.
Just an idea. Our viewers who are celebrating Hanukkah, what is a Hanukkah tradition that you look forward to every year?
Ooh, yeah.
I like that. Yeah, we'll put a poll on that too.
We love
Yeah.
that.
All right. Is there anything else?
I was just gonna say, be sure to check out our previous videos on YouTube. We are on Spotify now, so check us out on Spotify.
We're an official
Follow
podcast.
Follow us on Instagram. I know Jordan works very hard to keep up our Instagram.
At the _Hot Mess Podcast.
And keep your eye open for our future guests who we will be having on the show in the near future.
Again, we will put everything on our Instagram, so make sure you keep an eye out for that to know who's coming on our show and when we have a video up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next Friday.
This has been the Hot Mess Podcast. Thank you all, and have a great week. We'll see you next week.